Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Write or Die Show. I am your host, Randi-lee. On today's episode, I'm going to be talking to Jeremiah Ukponrefe. Make sure that you hit that like and subscribe button now so you never miss an episode. Welcome, Jeremiah. Welcome to the Write or Die Show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Super excited to have you on here. I love that you're drinking lots of water. I did not drink enough water today.
It's actually a nervous habit. It's not like it's just a thing I do. Yeah.
That's okay. It's totally fine.
True.
I did not drink enough water today though. So it's like constantly reminding me of that fact.
Oh, okay. I'll stop then.
No, you do you. It's cool. All good.
Yeah.
So just tell us a little bit about who Jeremiah is.
Yeah. I'm a writer and I'm also a stand-up comedian. So
what kind of comedy do you do?
It's a mix of things. I do like a lot of like somewhat dark stuff, and then I also do I do like a lot of silly stuff too. So it's two big like contradicting topics that I do. And thank you. Are you a fan of stand-up or is that your thing?
So I enjoy stand-up. Who is Jeremiah?
Yeah.
Because you've told us, kind of what you do, but you haven't told us who you are.
Who I am? That's a good question because so much
it's the hardest one.
Yeah, so much of what I do is who I am because I spend so much time doing it. So it's like, who am I? I mean,
well, we know you're a person that doesn't skate.
Yes.
Do you like animals?
Animals? I like animals. I've never actually owned an animal, so I think that'd be good for me.
Oh my goodness, we just got a puppy before Christmas, so now we have 3 dogs. And we have 4 cats.
Oh, okay. So can I have one?
Not one of mine, but I do suggest getting 1 or 2 or 7.
I will when I move into a new place because I live in a basement suite, so I don't have the option to So I've never had the option to have an animal at any point in my life, but I love it. So that's a part of who I am. Someone who wants animals. I don't know. I guess I'm someone with big aspirations and trying hard to achieve that. I'm single, so if anyone's in Vancouver listening to this,
I love it. This is now a dating show.
Yeah, exactly. My face is on YouTube, so you can see can see what I look like. Yeah,
no surprises.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're going to talk about like your deepest, darkest, worst parts of your life. So there's really no secrets on that point.
Yeah, exactly. So that'd be great. Yeah.
And all the girls hit click off.
Yeah.
Well, I'm making that assumption that it's all the girls. Maybe there's other people out. Anyways, so let's talk about those deep, dark, worst points in your life.
Yeah.
Start your story wherever makes the most sense for you.
Okay. I would say with me as like I had a pretty good life. Like I had a pretty normal childhood, middle class, didn't get everything I wanted in a good way. Like, but I think like a lot changed for me when I hit like 16, 15 years old.
Okay. Was there like a specific catalyst or just life in general being 16?
I think it was just life in general. There wasn't anything specifically that happened. I just like started to feel for the first time in my life like depression, and it was just this feeling of wanting to die and just like not caring about anything at all.
That feeling.
Yeah, and it was like it just started at like a really hard time, and then I didn't know what it was. Like I know my brother went through it, but I didn't know what it felt like.
Okay. Older or younger?
Older brother.
Okay.
Yeah, like 3 years older. So
and so when he went through it, did like know he was going through it at the time?
Yeah, I knew he was because he told me and like we had talked about it. But then I started to understand it.
Yeah.
And it's been that way throughout my life, like it's always been an up and down thing. During winter months, it's always been really hard. During the summer, it eases off a bit.
Yeah, it's that vitamin D you should take. Not that I am a doctor and I'm not giving medical advice. You should take vitamin D, like extra, like supplements. That's the word.
Right.
Supplements for vitamin D, especially for those of us who live in Canada.
Yeah, exactly.
That really
that,
does
actually.
help. Yes. Yeah. My naturopath was like, he actually did the tests on me and my son, and I wasn't that low. I still needed some, but my son was like so stinking low. He's like, you have no vitamin D in your body. I'm like, Colleen doesn't leave the house. Comes
Oh
from the
yeah.
sun.
Okay. Yeah. I've actually heard that as well. That like I
Yep.
should. Yeah, that's actually good advice. Yeah, but it's always been up and down. And although I've never made like any suicide attempts or anything like that, it's always affects my life when I'm ever in it because it really affects like motivation to even write or to
Yeah.
do stand up. Like it pretty much everything gets everything in my all different categories, social life, career, all that stuff kind of gets hit in a negative way.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to it's always been hard to like pull myself out of it. And even I went through it pretty bad through this year, from like during the winter months, and it's getting better now. But yeah,
Oh, good.
yeah.
Good, good. Okay, so when you're 16, you had known about your brother when he went through it. Did you tell your brother you were experiencing it at the time?
Not at the time, like a few years later, yeah, but at the time it was just me. I just didn't know when I was younger, I didn't really know how to talk about that
Okay,
kind
so
of
you didn't
stuff
tell
with
your
anybody.
parents or anybody?
No, my parents. Except my parents actually found out because they went to a party one time and I got super wasted. And then I was in my friend's car, like my friend's mom picked us up and I said like I'm depressed and stuff. And then she told like our school principal and my principal told my parents or something like that. So it was
Okay.
like multiple people that I went through and until I went to them. So that's when they kind of found out.
What did they do when they found out?
I think my mom had like a 30-second talk with me. That's
Oh,
really it. Yeah. I don't
yeah,
know. It's yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but
That's all
like
right. She knew before my mom. My mom didn't know till I wrote my book. This one here.
oh, okay.
That was
Nice.
my very first book in 2017, and it is a collection of all of the poetry that I wrote as a teenager when I was like super depressed,
Okay.
and it mostly talks about killing myself.
Hmm.
And so when my mom read that book, she's like, "I didn't know this stuff
Yeah.
because I didn't
Oh,
tell you. Like
yeah,
I
true.
was hiding it." So were you hiding it from people? Like trying
Yeah,
to
yeah.
actively hide it in a way?
Yeah, I would say I was hiding it. I wouldn't, I just acted as like normal as possible and just never
Yeah,
really brought that stuff up.
yeah,
Because it's hard, there's when you feel like there's no one you can bring it up to. So
exactly.
yeah.
So when did you finally bring it up to somebody?
Um, I mean, I think it might have been my brother first, because like we could just relate to each other. Or
Mhm.
maybe it was my parents. I don't know exactly, honestly. But those are like, other than those two people, I talked to my therapist about it, which I started going to therapy for this year. So it's a pretty
Okay.
big gap between
Like this
people.
year, 2022, or like
Yeah,
this
like
year, like what
oh,
just passed?
2021. Yeah,
Okay.
like late 2021. Yeah. So
Okay.
like
Okay.
24 years old. Yeah.
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 All right. So you lived with it for quite a while before going to
Yeah.
therapy, which is not unusual at all.
Yeah.
Because I probably was about 14 when I first really felt it. And I don't think I went to therapy until 28, 29. So yeah,
Mhm.
we hide it. We don't want to talk about it. But and I think for me anyways, it's how do you talk about it as well?
Yeah.
I didn't have the words. Like one of the first things my therapist asked, and you can let me know if your therapist asked it, was, well, when you say you're depressed, what do you actually feel like? I'm like, oh, like fine, I
Yeah.
guess. I don't know. And she's like, yeah, that doesn't work. That's not a description of your feelings.
Yeah.
So that didn't work out well. Or she'd go,
Yeah.
how are you today? Oh, I'm fine. Fine is not an emotional feeling.
Yeah.
But it was always my go-to. I was fine because being fine meant I was still functioning.
Mm.
Didn't mean things were good. It didn't mean I was happy. It didn't mean that, I wanted to wake up in the morning. It literally meant I was functioning.
Yeah.
So yeah, she didn't let me get away with that. She kept saying I had to find actual emotional terms to describe it.
Mm.
That was not easy. So what did your therapist kind of have the same? How do you feel?
Yeah, it was definitely like the same question. Just how does depression feel to you? And to me, it's definitely just this deep, deep sadness and also apathy for pretty much everything. Just even things that I like a book, like working really hard on. It's just, oh, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I do care, but like not enough that I'd actually want to start, writing again or just doing things. Just an extreme apathy, I would
Yep.
say, is the main feeling for me.
Yeah. And that's a huge indicator if you know somebody really well and all of a sudden they're not doing the things that you know they enjoy. That's a big red flag.
Yeah.
And that's maybe when you need to say, so how are you feeling like for realsies?
Yeah.
That's a good way to approach that subject. I noticed that normally you love writing, but you haven't been talking about your writing, or you haven't, if it's somebody that normally beta reads for you, you haven't given me anything new to read. So just, for people who are listening, who are wondering how to help somebody that's feeling these feelings, don't think that you can't ask questions.
Yeah.
You need to ask questions. Okay, so, and that's a great description of how it makes you feel. So how do you get yourself out of it?
There's honestly multiple, it's pretty much multiple coping mechanisms stacked together. So it's exercise is one for me. I think actively being social is another, and just like consistently having things to do planned helps me. So that's just for me. So like if like Saturday night, or like just having something to do. And for a really long time, I had stand up 5-6 nights a week.
Oh, nice.
But when the pandemic started, it went from 6 to like nothing, to not being able to go out. Yeah.
So totally side note, how is the pandemic in Vancouver right now?
There's still, the numbers, they're not bad enough, because there's still events that we can still go to, and it's like half capacity, but you're still able to live life and still able to go.
So exercise, getting out there, getting social. But for me, I'm curious how you get yourself to force yourself to be social. Because to me, I hate being social when I'm depressed. And if I do sometimes have to force myself, right? If I have to go to work or whatever, how do you do it?
Well, I think it's just through doing things that I want to do. So it's like, for stand-up, for example, I'm able to do it now 4 times a week, 5 times a week. So just having a set, and it's like, if you're booked on the show, I've got to go to the show.
Yeah.
And that's just a habit for me. Because even if I feel like shitty, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear.
Oh, it's fine.
Okay, yeah. Even if I feel
like,
shitty,
don't drop it all the time, but.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Say it again. Even if I feel bad and I'm at home, once I'm outside for even just a couple minutes on my way, then I feel better. Yeah. So that's just me though. I don't know. That helps.
Yeah.
That's what's
the outside helps me so much. I love being outside, which is why in the wintertime it's so much worse, because I don't like being outside. So it's a really good thing. Another reason to get a dog. I'm all about, let's go rescue all the dogs, and not from a breeder. Let's go rescue all the dogs. All 3 of my dogs are rescue dogs. Nice. All 4 of my cats are rescue cats, actually. Anyways, another awesome reason to get a dog, unless you're a cat person, because I love cats too, but is that you're forced to take them outside. Right? Like I am forced every day to take my dogs for a walk. So I have a lab, a beagle, and the one we just got is a shepherd mix. And so the lab will not poop in the backyard. Just won't do it. He'll go number 1 out there, but he will not go number 2 out there. The beagle, she doesn't care. She'll do everything in the backyard. And the puppy is learning to do everything in the backyard. So no matter what, even if the beagle doesn't want to go outside because she has to wear a little coat and she hates it. I think she looks cute in it, but she hates it so much. So sometimes if she sees her coat, she'll run to the other side of the house. It's like, nope, I'm not going with you, which is fine because it can be too cold for her. But with the lab, I have to take him for a walk in the morning and a walk in the evening. So I'm at least forced to get out, and that it really does help a lot. Like just getting out there. And like in the summer, we'll go for 45 minutes. In the winter, 15, 20 minutes. It depends on how cold it is. But yeah, that forced going outside thing, I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so you force yourself, you get outside, and in that way you can actually get to where you're going and have the capacity to be social.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and one thing too is just I do if in terms of exercise, if I ever feel really bad at one point in the day, I'll just do like 30 push-ups or something outside of like gym time or whatever. I'll just
Yeah, yeah.
stop and just do like 30 push-ups, and that actually helps just feel better. It's like a short burst, but it really can
Yes.
change
That's actually
everything in like in
that's one of
a short
the
time.
coping skills that from all the various therapists I've talked to. So my therapist and then my kid's therapist, my kid has been through a lot of them because hey, you're Canadian, so you would sort of understand this. I don't know how your province differs from my province in this way, but with our healthcare system being free, because I do that because the mental health part of it really isn't.
Yeah, yeah.
But because my kid is under 18, we do have a mental health for kids organization where I live. We're lucky that way because
Okay.
there's not that many of them in the province. And so, but the problem is with those is that, well, first there's a big wait list, but once you get to the top of the wait list, when you see those counselors, those therapists there, they have to define a specific goal. And once you've met that one goal, your case is closed. Even if you've got
Okay.
10 other things you need worked on, this
Right.
one goal has been met. So he's had his file open, closed, open, closed, open, closed a whole bunch of times. So he's had different therapists because every time he's finished on that one goal, I have to call and put him back on the wait list for the next thing.
Right.
It's very frustrating. But a lot of them have all said, if you're feeling really bad, take a quick, short, they usually say jumping jacks just because it's that movement. But yeah, they're like 10, 20 jumping jacks, just go really quick. And it gives you that burst like you're talking about. I can't get him to do it. But I mean, he is a 15-year-old boy.
Okay. Yeah.
But
True.
it is something that I've heard repeatedly over and over. I don't do it myself, although I'll take like, I do work out usually 1 to 2 times a day anyway. So I get that, or like I said, I go for those walks. So it's nice to hear that it is something that actually works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, it really helps quite a bit. So with that like waitlist system, is that is there anything with for adults like that, or is that just for kids?
There is. So the Canadian Mental Health Association, you can get on the wait list for them, but I'm not sure exactly how they work specifically because I have never went through the trouble of using them because I know the wait lists are crazy and you have to have like a referral from your doctor or something.
Okay.
I've used the EAP through my old work, the Employee Assistance Program. Again, because it's through like the insurance company, there's specific rules on how long you can be with them and whatever, but it's a lot more flexible than the other ones for the kids. And then through where my husband works now, he's got some insurance benefits. So I could actually go and get a certified psychologist instead of just a therapist counselor. So, because there is different levels of who can help you, right? Like there's
That's true.
therapists and counselors, actual psychologists, or the psychiatrist. There are two separate things as well. So it really depends on what you're looking for. There's social workers as well that a lot of insurance companies don't cover. So where my husband used to work, he just switched jobs. Where he used to work, they didn't cover social work under that. But where he works now, they'll cover social work
Okay.
or psychologist. So,
Mm.
which is nice because social work is often cheaper. Like you
Right.
can get one
Yeah.
of those for $75, $80 an hour, whereas the psychologist could be up to $200 an hour.
Mm.
So it's a really big difference.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a student therapist actually. So they're getting their master's degree. So it's
Oh, okay.
yeah, which is actually really, it's a good, cheaper option. And
That's
it's like,
actually
yeah.
who I went through because she was still classified as a psychologist. So it still counted under his old plan, but she
Mm.
was still in the process of getting X amount of hours or something under another like supervising psychologist.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she was good. I really liked her,
Mm.
gave me
Yeah, mine
tons of
too.
tips and stuff. Yeah. Okay, so what kind of stuff have you like learned from your psychologist?
Uh, I've learned I've learned quite a bit. I've learned one thing she said to me, because the way my depression works is that it'll usually, like I said, it'll usually be up and down, and sometimes that's throughout the day.
Yeah.
One thing she noted was that when you're feeling down, just knowing that this will pass, which is just that, because it feels like it's irrational, but it feels like I'm going to feel this way forever when I'm
Yeah.
in that low state. But then having the conscious knowledge that, okay, you feel this way. Sometimes instead of focusing on writing, I'll focus on something that's a little easier. Just
Okay.
like, for example, I send out messages and emails every day trying to get book reviews. And
Okay.
that's something a little less heavy than actually writing. So if I'm ever feeling down, I try to transfer my tasks into easier things that you can do while not feeling the best, and just like still remain productive while, it's okay to shift stuff around,
Yeah. I
gotta do
like that.
that.
That was a very hard lesson for me to learn, actually, the idea of shifting stuff around. I'm a very all or nothing mindset. So if I had to shift stuff around, it destroyed me before. And so that was one of the things that my therapist had to work on me with, is just, it's okay that, at the time I was going there, I was trying to clean the basement. She's like, it's okay if you don't clean the entire basement. As long, like, if you feel you need to do something down there, 10 minutes is sufficient. Like, no, it has to be the whole thing.
Yeah.
No, it really doesn't.
Yeah.
This is really difficult. This is really difficult.
Yeah.
So yeah, but shifting stuff around is something I've done. So I've actually started, for myself, writing everything down on my to-do list, which some people go, oh my gosh, that's too much. But then I divvy it up throughout the week. Like, I'll only put certain things on Monday and Tuesday. So it only ends up being 2 or 3 things in that day.
Right.
And some of it, sometimes it might be something so simple just to give me that boost of, yes, I got it, something accomplished. So simple as do the cat litter. I can't put it off really because it's got to get done, right? But it makes me feel good when I go, done.
Yeah,
and then it gives
exactly.
me that boost to go do the next thing. So I do understand that. Pick something that's slightly easier maybe, so that you can get that little confidence boost or whatever.
Yeah. What else has she given me? That's kind of just off the top of my head. It's hard to, because right now we're just like doing a lot of talking stuff out in my life.
Yep.
So yeah, I haven't gotten too many tips. Like I've gotten some stuff, but yeah.
Okay. Is there anything in particular, and you can totally tell me to shut the F up, anything in particular that you could share with us that is something that you would say?
Oh, in my sessions?
Yeah. But like I said, you
Yeah.
could feel free to tell me to shut the F up.
I guess we're like we're talking a lot about my dating life right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's just what I don't know. I think that like I was dealing with a lot of disappointment at a time, and she was just like, it was also another thing of like, oh, this will pass, and it feels like, oh, I'm gonna be alone forever, but I know that's not true.
Yeah.
So a common theme is just knowing that you just have to keep going and just like be okay with, sometimes being disappointed.
I actually really like that you shared that part, because I mean, one of the biggest issues with those of us that have depression is that when we're in it, it does feel like absolutely nothing will ever change. Life is just full of shit, for lack of a better term. And what's the point of keeping going? Like I'm completely hopeless.
Yeah.
That's where I get to. I get to the point of I'm completely hopeless. I'm a useless human being. If I wasn't here, wouldn't make a difference. It would probably make other people's lives easier. So yeah, that understanding that it will pass. And I have used that phrase in a couple of the books that I've written about my experiences. It will pass, it will get better. But oh my goodness, is that a hard thing to think about when you're in the middle of it?
Yeah, for sure.
Because when you're in the middle of it, it does not feel like it's going to pass. It does not feel like anything will ever get better. It does not feel like there is any type of glimmer of hope. So that's a perfect one to share.
Thank you. Thanks.
So what would you tell somebody who is listening right now, and we actually have one viewer, so there you go.
Oh, nice.
Right now, what would you tell somebody who's listening and they're going through a really tough time? Maybe it's their first experience with potentially depression. Maybe it's just a really rough patch. What's your advice to them?
I would say that if you don't really know a lot about depression, try to find coping mechanisms that work for you. That's really important, because it's going to be, for everyone, it's going to be different. So just, try to find whatever it is that helps you, because it's might be different for everyone, and try to experiment and just
Yeah, that's perfect advice. And that's why I love this show, because I'm asking everybody what works for you, and people can pick and choose. Right? It's perfect. And people have brought up things that in the past I would have never thought of. So it's great. When I first asked you that question, the first thought that popped into my head, because we had talked about it earlier, go do 30 push-ups.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing to go do.
Yeah.
So let's talk about now what you've written.
Yeah.
And what is it that you have written?
I've written a sci-fi novel. It's soft sci-fi. Soft.
Okay, what does soft mean?
Sci-fi. Okay, so there's two main categories: hard and soft sci-fi. Hard sci-fi is a lot more technical, a lot more science-based kind of, and then so it'd be something where they actually really go in depth into science and use a lot more. I didn't
the
finish
things that would go over my head.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't finish university, so I go to the soft, which is just more like there's concepts, but it's more about like the philosophy and stuff like that, as opposed to the actual science side. So like soft would be something like Star Wars or Star Trek, where it's not really, it's a laser sword, it's not.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't need to explain too much,
Yeah.
It's like that, yeah.
Yeah, I don't need to know the inner workings of the lightsaber. Just
exactly.
Show me that it chops stuff up.
Exactly, it's like that. But it's a novel about, there was an alien invasion on Earth a few years ago, and humans thought they defeated it, but they find the last remnants of the alien, and they decide that they need to destroy the last of it. And as they attempt it, they find that it's actually coming back stronger than ever, and there's more to the alien than they thought there was. Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, exactly.
And
That's
what's it called though?
It's called Hive.
I like that. It gives me alien vibes. Like, I know a hive, you kind of think of a bee, but like, I don't know, there's been so many, like, something that hive mind was in some show, and it was like an alien hive mind. I can't remember the show now. It'll come to me at the like most random time, but whatever. So where do people get their hands on this book?
This can be bought on Amazon. You just have to look up Hive, and then or it can be on my website, which is www.jeremiahyou.com. So those are the two main avenues for getting the book.
Excellent. And we're gonna throw those links in the description down below, so people can just go click.
Yeah.
Because I always ask my guests to give me their links. So there you go.
Yeah.
And speaking of links, where do people follow you?
People can follow me on my Instagram, which is just at Jeremiah Ukponrefe, which I'll just spell that out right now. That's JeremiahUkponrefe. If you have TikTok, I also do TikTok videos. Yeah, but I don't like doing them, so I might.
You have to follow me on TikTok.
I will. I actually will.
So what is your TikTok handle?
It's the Jeremiah Ukponrefe. So same spelling. Yeah. What's yours? I think yours is probably easier.
Right or Die Show.
Right or Die. Okay, yeah, that's way easy. So I'll follow you.
And then I also have another one. So the Right or Die Show one is obviously the one promoting mental health, promoting the show. Yeah. Here's my fidget, everybody. This is why I keep my hands busy. And so the other one though is all my animals. So when you're depressed, you just can go on TikTok and look at all my cute animals. So that one's a little bit trickier. Because it's Fred, Daff, and the gang. So I'll have to send you the link for that one. Okay, Daff is DAPH.
Yeah.
And I will add that link in the description below too, just in case anybody else wants to see some super cute animals.
Nice.
I have a video today that I just posted of the new puppy. because he discovered laser pointers. I've
Oh,
never
okay.
seen a puppy chase a laser pointer. I've always just seen cats do it. It was so freaking hilarious. It was great. So yes, get that book on Amazon, and that's the only one you've got published at the moment, right?
Yes, it's the first of a 9-book series. So
Nine. So you must already
yeah,
have it all laid out to
yeah.
know that it's 9.
Yeah, I have the broad strokes. It's probably gonna take 18 years. So
So hold on to your
yeah,
pants.
but if you get an early version, if this blows up, I will sign it, and then you can be like, I have the original. That'll be
Ooh.
a big deal. It'll be a
It
big
will be
deal.
a big deal. It'll
It'll be
totally be
like,
a big deal.
I'll change the cover in a few years, so then the originals are worth more. So that'll
Oh,
be. So get it now if you
I
want to.
love it. Oh,
Yeah,
and I only have an e-copy, don't I?
yeah. I will. Yeah, that's true. I'll sign it for you. Digital
Digital signature. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah. There you go.
Although I do have the rights to say that I interviewed you before you became
That's
feature
true. Yeah,
famous,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, you can sell this interview as an NFT if that's
There
still
we go.
if
I
it's
love
still a thing. Yeah.
it. Love it. So thank you so much, Jeremiah, for being on the show and enduring my crazy tangents.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. Thank you. This was fun.
So again, thank you so much, Jeremiah. Love talking to my other Canadian authors out there. I feel like we're hiding in caves or something. Let's all come out and come on the show. Make sure that you hit those links down below in the description. Give him a follow. Check out when all of those other 8 books are going to be coming out. Be sure to check out when I do my book review of Hive, because I do have my copy and I'm totally looking forward to it. Although now I'm going to read it and want the next part of it. So keep working, Jeremiah, because I need to know how things end. If you want to support the show, you can go on over to our merch store. 10% of the proceeds go back to the Canadian Mental Health Association. And remember, the only way to end the stigma of mental health is to speak openly and honestly.